So we're going to talk just a little bit about what's next for Delaware United. I'm going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about what we need help in doing as part of those items that we're going to be working on. So Delaware United formed in the beginning because we knew that in order to change Delaware, we had to kind of break the Delaware way down a little bit. We needed to win some elections and get some new people in and keep recycling people into the same or different positions. So we knew we had to win elections. So one of the biggest goals that we started out doing was researching candidates, incumbents and newcomers alike, and finding out where they stood on different issues, getting them to fill out questionnaires, doing a lot of digging on social media, on the legislative website, finding out how they voted on different items. And then we did endorsements and then a lot of volunteer work to help try to push particularly the new people in over the top. So that job is a never-ending job because there's always races happening in Delaware. I know for a fact that right now we're getting ready on the verge of at least 3, but I know there's more than that, but at least 3. I know we have the state chair, which Glenn is running for the state party chair, right? Am I saying right? Yeah, sorry. So we have that coming up, the state convention's coming up, we have Newark City Council coming up, and then I know it's crazy, but 2018 is right around the corner. I know we're only 3 months in, but races can start early, so you have to be prepared. And part of that preparation is to make sure that we have a base built up in the party of particularly of new people. So one of the best things to do is get involved in your RD, which is your Representative District Committee. Basically, that seemed to help a lot of people was we made a video for that whole process on how to find out what RD you're in, who your RD chair is, when they meet, all that sort of stuff, and then wards for the city, ward committees, which is essentially very similar. So we made 2 different videos on that, and that seemed to help a lot of people. I know Yanni here got his RD after finding that video. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's on YouTube. It's also on our webpage, DelawareUnited.org. If you YouTube Delaware United as a channel, and all the videos are on there as well. So making sure that we get enough people like us, like people in this room, on their RDs. That way in 2018, we have a nice base of support for endorsements, volunteering, getting out the vote, making candidates, if it's a poor incumbent that doesn't do much for the district, making sure there's a nice primary candidate that can support that district. All those sort of initiatives have to happen with base of support. So that's one of the big things that we want to focus on doing. Another thing that we're going to be doing is preparing ourselves, Delaware United, for 2018. It's a process. It takes time. The research is not particularly easy, but it can be a lot of fun and very educational. So, but it does take time. So when the primary deadline to say I am running in the primary happens, not long after that, you want to have most of your research done at that point. So that way you know all the people who you know are going to run, you have the research done. And that way all you have to do is research people that filed at the last minute and then put out your endorsement and then hit the bricks running. Every week that you wait is another week that the incumbent has to take that race. So you want to be ready.
The opponent.
Yeah, or the opponent, right. So one of the things we need to develop is a base group that can help with that research. So that's one of the things that we're going to be doing. Another thing that we're going to be doing that all groups, I think, are doing is to stay alert on everything that's happening with this xenophobic, racist, bigoted president that we have right now. And make sure that any action that he takes that's going to affect Delaware is met with resistance. Because we can't let that kind of atrocity come here to Delaware. So we have to be ready and be alert and know what all the other groups are doing to make sure that everybody and all of our friends in whatever group knows what's happening. If there's a resistance action item happening, make sure that all groups know about that. So we want to make sure that we keep an eye out for other groups, Network Delaware, PDD, senators if they get involved in different action items. Make sure that everybody knows who's doing what. So every group should be doing that. Every group should be looking out for what other groups are doing to make sure that we strengthen our numbers and come in force. So we are also going to be working on that. One of the things that we're doing right now as an action item is a petition to Governor Carney to ask him to make Delaware a sanctuary state. Basically, ICE can come into this state. We can't really do anything about that. That's a federal organization. However, what we can do something about is using our state resources for that xenophobic campaign, which is just not economically sound. We're in a huge deficit right now. We should not be expending money or resources on that initiative, and we shouldn't have undocumented people or political asylum refugees fearing that they're going to be ripped from their family if they call 911. Right? So we need him to step up and say that this is a safe state. You can rely on state officials. If you need help, you can reach out and you can do so safely without fear of getting ripped from your family. And kids shouldn't be going to school fearing that they're going to come home to their parents. So Carney needs to step up and do something about that. So we have a petition. There's a plan with the petition. So if you haven't signed it, please sign it. If you haven't, share it 3 times. And then, not 1 time, back to back. So as many signatures as we can get on that. And then there is a plan to go forward with that petition that we'll talk about early next week. So another thing that we're going to do is continue to engage the public on issues that are happening at home to support local candidates in those small races or in upcoming races. When we find out if somebody is gearing up to run for a campaign, making sure that we know about it, and if they pique our interest, make sure we're ready. Another thing that we'll be starting about, that Becca's going to talk about, is we're actually going to be starting a TV program. So we're going to actually have a bi-weekly, right? Yeah, we're going to have a bi-weekly TV program. She's going to talk more about that. So what do we need help with? So all of those things take time and energy and resources, but the nice thing is that the more people that are involved, the less that everybody has to do. So, which is a beautiful thing. So there are 4 different squads that we're going to talk about tonight, and I'm going to roll right into mine just so you have an example, and then we're going to have different people talk about the squads that they're going to be heading up. So the squad that I am going to be heading up, and what's very passionate to me, is outreach. So getting people engaged. Now, part of that is pretty simple. Part of it is social media, making sure that you're running effective campaigns on social media, making sure that you're running effective email campaigns, and then engaging the public when those events happen. Make sure that, if you have people in that group, make sure they invite their friends, or if you know friends, make sure that they invite their friends. So outreaching to the community. Another thing is writing and editing. Those emails have to be proofread multiple times before they go out, and you're still going to miss something. That's okay. But part of the outreach team is writing and editing those emails or social media campaigns, letters to the editor, things like that. So anything that has to do with reaching out to the public, the outreach squad is going to be a part of that. So the next one is the events squad. So Sharon and Jeff are going to come up and talk about that.
I didn't know we were coming up. Oh, come on. So Sharon and I are going to be heading up the event squad, and it sounds pretty much like it is what, yeah, it's events. So thank you. So some events, we've been very, I don't want to say sidetracked, but we've been very focused on the primaries and on researching, endorsing candidates, going door to door, phone calls, phone banking, all that kind of stuff. But one great event that we did have a couple of months ago was a forum on mental health and substance abuse. We had a really nice panel assembled and had a really good night, good turnout, packed house for that, and really learned a lot, got a lot of resources out there. So we want to do more forums like that. What else do we want to do?
We want to do some different outreach into helping like the homeless as far as getting together with a campaign of trying to help other people. We're still trying to figure out what kind of
We want to do some
Yeah,
volunteer
but
things.
some volunteer things to just fun things to bring people in. We're still trying to figure out which way we want to go with this as far as events. So we're gonna actually do a survey to ask people what they want to do, because we have a wide range of ages here. What I might like to do, he might not like to do. So we're gonna get everybody's input as far as the events you want to see happen, because some people might want to do something fun, where you might want to rock climb. I don't want to do that, but we want to do things that we can engage everyone, but help the community. You know, so we're gonna brainstorm and get a survey out to everyone, and we're gonna have Mr. Dustin here send out the survey as part of his outreach and put some ideas on there so you can send it back to us, and as far as the different events that we're thinking of. And then if you don't like our ideas, then you can, let us know the ideas you're thinking of, and then we can decide the majority rules.
Yeah, our squad would be working really closely with Dustin's squad, because the two go hand in hand, the outreach and events. I know something else that we've talked about doing is, for example, a lot of education stuff. So nights where we show documentaries. There's some amazing documentaries out there. Even having guest speakers or have a panel, something like that. So that's what we do.
And bringing out some elected officials to talk about what they're working on and what they need help with as well. And we can get Dustin to do the surveys on that too.
She's giving you work, Dustin.
I know.
Well, he's the outreach man.
Yeah, so the outreach and the events are gonna coordinate pretty well together. And, what their jobs are gonna, anybody that's on that squad, what they're really gonna be working on is introducing of playing that. So if you're really good at getting things together, that would be a good place to, vent that, ambition and that talent. So like setting up events like tonight, or the mental health forum that they talked about, or canvassing events, or activist events. So coordinating and structuring that sort of thing, if that's your forte, that'd be a great thing to help out with. So the next thing, Becca's going to talk about the TV group. TV squad.
Okay, so this is my baby. I will admit that. However, all of us are very excited about it. It's called DU TV. And what we're going to do is, who in here has seen Young Turks? Okay, so we're going to have a slight little panel like that, where a couple of us sit around and talk about local issues. We're also going to do interviews, and we will probably play just clips of the interview on our show, and then you can go to YouTube and watch the entire interview with different individuals. We'll be addressing social issues. I can tell you we're looking to, our first show is probably going to have a lot to do with the prison siege, both ends of the spectrum. And we're also going to have a bit about Trump, and basically we're going to call Loser of the Week, even though we're doing a bi-weekly show. But so it'll be a little bit of sarcasm, it'll be a little bit of fun. And then those of you that watch The Daily Show, you know they have their moment of zen. We are going to do the opposite and have our moment of burn, and it will be a positive thing, and that will be the end of the show. So it's going to be bi-weekly, different interviews. We have talked about it. We were supposed to kick off a little bit ago, but the campaign kind of had us all super busy. And so we're also going to have guest panelists. We've actually asked Stephanie from Sierra Club, actually Kobe from Network Delaware, and 8 million other organizations that he's part of. So it's great. And Steve Tanzer, who's from Delaware Liberal. Just different people will come in and talk about stuff that maybe people don't talk about, maybe they want to talk about. But we're really excited about that. We're not going to do straight live first, just because we want to get a little warm up. But we're looking a couple months down the road to do live, and then we're also talking to WXPN, Ivan Thomas, and possibly put the show on there as well. So that's where we're going, and that's my squad. And so if you would like to be part of that, I know it sounds very exciting. I'm going to have everyone sign up for it. But please sign up. And one of the things we didn't mention is that we do a ton of our work on Facebook. And so you're not gonna be coming to a meeting every week because we know that it's kind of cumbersome for people. So we're gonna be doing more like conference calls, more like Facebook chats, and that's really what we do. We get together once a month, and most of our communications are all through Facebook and what's happening, are we sharing this event, what's going on. So if you're not on Facebook, it's okay, we can do it via email, but just if you're part of our squad, we're actually gonna set up a chat separately for you, so you'll know where we're going, what we're doing, do we need to meet, do we need to talk, what are your ideas, did you contact that person for an interview, et cetera, et cetera. So, any quick questions about that? No, nobody has any questions.
So at first it's gonna be all online, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be Facebook and YouTube
Ooh, yeah.
to start, and hopefully Ivan can work. I said he's still getting himself entrenched in the new job.
On channel 22.
Yeah, sorry, 22, not 27. Thank you. But it's like
I watch that channel all the time. I'm a nerd.
You are a nerd. Not because you watch that channel. But yeah, so that's that. I gotta wrap it up because somebody else is next. Thanks.
All right, so if you're interested in helping format that programming, what you think the issue should be on this show, or finding interviewees, or being on the panel if you have an opinion on what's going to be talked about that week and you want to be on the show, that would be the group that you can help out with. So finally, I mentioned before, research is an integral part of what we do at Delaware United, and it does take a team. So we have a research group, and Josh and Mike are going to talk about that.
He's going. What? Yeah.
I'll start out. I think that Dustin already covered a lot of the aspects of what we do with research, and that's been a big part of what Delaware United has done since our inception last year. And I think that it's very easy to find out what's going on in the U.S. Congress and the Senate and stuff, but local politics, which is our focus, it's a little harder to find out information, but there are channels to go through to find out that. So we want to know about, every important piece of legislation. We want to know, what's that about? Because our goal is to inform people and get them active. And so
At every level.
At every level, yeah, that's right.
At the state and local level.
Yes, yeah. So we began doing candidate research, and that's certainly important, and it seems like we're in non-stop election cycles, as Dustin figured out. We also want to expand and start studying issues and find out what are the important pieces of legislation coming down the pipe, what are the important issues, how does the legislation relate to that. So if you're the kind of person that finds yourself, reading the news journal, like the news part of the news journal, if you're interested in local politics, even if you're not, I joined Delaware United because I wanted to find out about local politics, I wanted to learn more about it. This might be a good team squad to jump on. Yes.
I don't have too much to add. We are developing a report card for each legislature. Basically, we'll just go through, read each, the state representatives, the state senators, how they are voting, making sure they are voting the way that we want them to vote, and grading them on that basis. So
So a handy tool for people to refer to real quickly, get sort of a high cut, and then the backup research will keep available for public also. So.
basically, we are the boring squad.
Yes, yeah.
Boring, hard work.
If you like reading and stuff like that, this is but we'll also participate in events too, so we'll have fun. So go on. Okay. Any questions or?
All right, so the report card is a very, I think that personally is going to be actually a pretty fun job, and it's going to be a very useful tool once that gets released. Because basically, essentially, what's going to happen is all these states and the state senators, representatives, and various other elected officials are going to be graded based on issue items. So they will we're going to have legislation on education and environment and whatnot go through the House and the Senate. And then we can keep track of, and we have people already that are tracking legislation all the time on this issue or that issue, and we want to pull them into the fold. And most of them want to be involved in that process. And then if they vote the way that we would like them to vote for environment and for education, average that out to a grade point average, basically just like we got on your report card. And then we can see that, okay, well, they didn't do too great in the environment, but on everything else, they did really, really well. So we can look at that and keep that in mind when we're doing our research or making endorsements. That way we have something substantial that people can follow easily and back up why we're working our butt off for these people. So that's I think a pretty exciting tool, because we have groups that do that for this issue or that issue. I mean, obviously the Sierra Club is watching legislation on the environment, ADA on democratic reform, and we have Kevin Orland who watches everything on education. You can like him or hate him, but he does it. So we have people that do that on one issue item. We'd like to pull that all together and make sure that we have a cohesive, it's like what they have on one issue. So finally, the last thing is the activist squad. So Jason, come on up. I'm taking Vivian's place. You get to listen to my voice even more. So the activist squad is literally just that. It's anybody who wants to protest, anybody who wants to petition, things like that.
Another group, things like that. I know we have a lot of people from a lot of different organizations represented here right now. We have Sierra Club, we have Stephanie Hansen campaign. A lot of different groups are represented here today. So kind of keeping that whole relationship going, I think, is because a lot of us have common goals. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a big part of keeping everything, everybody within the loop on all the different groups. So I mean, literally anybody who wants to get in any level of involvement in politics, whether it's the women's marches, either in DC or Newark, the petition, getting that around, like all of that, all of you want to be involved in either starting those things or being participatory in those things, that would be the right place to go.
Thinking of having I would like everyone to have some kind of central calendar for the people up and down the state to track, these activities, so that you guys can be a repository of, sort of the progressive activities, and people would have get people getting used to going to one place.
Yeah,
We're working on something like that.
there is a resistance calendar if it's specifically a resistance Trump related thing. There's actually a website that does do that, and you can submit events to that website if you hear anything about them. Anytime we hear about any meetings going on, we do have a calendar on our website that we do try to update as much as possible. But again, it takes a team effort to do that. So the more people we have watching and say, hey, did you see this event that Network Delaware is having, or that the DSD is having? So then that's part of, I would say, the event squad or the activist squad. They can just shoot that into the chat room and say, hey, did you see this? You should add that to the calendar. Oh, yeah, thanks. Cool. And then we just add it to the calendar. So we do that as much as possible. So I gotta say one more thing, and then I want to get some feedback on the election that just happened, the special election that just happened. So just to kind of recap, as Becca said, most of this happened virtually. So there's not a big time commitment. If you have Facebook, if you ever use Messenger, you don't even have to have Facebook, you can just do Messenger. Most of the communication happens through there. Similar to Slack, but I find that a lot of people don't have Slack or they don't know how to use it. It is a little bit more intricate. Not that much more, but it is a little bit more. Facebook Messenger is just super easy. Just like the Yahoo chat back in the day, probably nobody remembers. So again, the more people that we have, the less work that each individual person has. So if you have 4 editors in a group, right, one person doesn't have to do all the editing. If one person's at work or one person's busy or whatever, there's 3 other people that can edit that, paragraph of an email or whatever. So the only meetings that'll be held in person for each squad is based on the people in that squad. So if everybody in that squad say, hey, I think we need a meeting to kind of hash this out a little bit better. I think it'd be better done in person or a conference call or whatever. Then they just decide that in the group. There's no overarching, everybody has to meet at this particular time. So this is, I think, a real chance to prepare for what's to come. 2018 is a huge, huge year. again, we get another chance at a lot of change if we can get organized and structured now. If we wait until the primary is already on us, we are way behind. It has to happen. It has to start happening